What would you do if you were sitting on a plane, thousands of feet in the air, and as you peeked outside your window, you realized the world had turned into a bottomless pit of darkness? No city lights to guide your view, no moon to outline the horizon, and not even the faint glow of a star. Just a pure, black void, swallowing everything in sight. Yet in that very moment, the pilot was preparing to bring this enormous metal bird down onto a thin strip of concrete that you couldn't even see. For most passengers, this thought alone is enough to send chills down the spine, because how can anyone land something so massive when there's literally nothing to see outside? But here's the fascinating truth. Pilots aren't flying blind in these moments at all. And what feels terrifying to you in the cabin is actually one of the most routine and well-practiced scenarios in aviation. The secret lies in a hidden world of technology and training that makes night landings not only possible, but often more precise than landings done on a sunny afternoon. Inside the cockpit, when the outside is nothing but blackness, pilots are locked onto something called the Instrument Landing System, or ILS, which you can think of as invisible rails made of radio signals that extend from the runway into the sky. These signals guide the nose of the aircraft with microscopic accuracy, narrowing down its path until the jet is perfectly lined up with the center of the runway. What makes this even more incredible is the precision. ILS can bring an aircraft to within just a few feet of the ground before the pilots even see the first runway lights flicker into view. And then there's something almost no passenger realizes. Modern jets are capable of what's called auto-land, especially under Category 3 conditions, where the autopilot itself can follow those signals all the way to the ground, landing smoother than many manual landings. In these cases, the pilots act like guardians, monitoring every number, every flicker on their instruments, ready to step in instantly if even the tiniest detail strays from the plan. But technology alone doesn't make this possible. There's also a mental discipline that every pilot carries into these dark approaches. Long before the descent begins, they calculate something known as a decision height, which is a critical altitude where they must make one of two choices. If the runway lights are visible, they commit to land, but if not, they must immediately power up, climb away, and try again. It's an invisible line in the sky that passengers never see, but for pilots, it's a razor-sharp boundary between safety and risk. And here's a detail very few people outside aviation circles know. Pilots rehearse these landings in simulators under conditions far worse than what they'll usually face, practicing in zero visibility, heavy crosswinds, and even simulated failures, so that when the real moment comes, their reactions are automatic, almost instinctive. Meanwhile, airports themselves play their role, equipping runways with powerful lighting systems, edge lights, centerline lights, and approach lights that stretch for miles, creating a glowing pathway that seems to appear at the last second, as though the ground is lighting itself up to welcome the aircraft home. The irony is that while passengers might feel their hearts pounding, gripping their armrests in fear of the unknown, the pilots up front are often calmer than they are during a clear day landing, because the instruments and procedures strip away human guesswork and replace it with reliable, tested precision. And that's the magic of it. What looks to you like a terrifying dive into black nothingness is, to them, one of the clearest, most predictable parts of flying. So the next time you find yourself staring nervously into the darkness outside your airplane window, remember this: your pilots aren't depending on the same darkness your eyes see. They're relying on invisible signals, split-second discipline, and technology so advanced it borders on science fiction. What feels like chaos to you is, for them, one of the purest demonstrations of teamwork between humans and machines. Proof that even in complete darkness, aviation finds a way to turn fear into certainty and bring you safely back to Earth.